As a former U.S. federal prosecutor, Joseph, nice to see you again. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Carol. Great to be with you.
Okay, what are you expecting?
Carol, it will be heavily watched. It will be heavily scrutinized. But the real question from your lead-in is, will we learn anything new? Remember, Special Counsel Mueller does not want to be there tomorrow. He effectively told us several months ago, the report is my testimony, and I don't think I have anything further to say. Now, congressional leaders felt, well, that's not good enough. We want to hear directly from the man what he spent 2 years and millions of dollars investigating. We want to hear it from him in plain English. What did you find? And to answer questions that are put to you. So it'll be really interesting to see the back and forth. He might be very, very strictly sticking to the text of his report, literally saying, I'll refer you to page 150 or page 200 for my answer to that question. He might not deviate from the report itself, and you might see a lot of frustration mounting in those 5 hours tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be very disappointing for the Democrats, who, as I understand it, have been practicing today with mock questions.
That's right, Carol. I heard that. I mean, the Democrats feel frustrated, right? They feel like the president and the attorney general have had 3 months now in the public domain to say, hey, we were exonerated. The president and his inner circle were found not to have obstructed justice. And the reality is the report was not that clear. So the Democrats feel that the president has had months now to sort of pollute the public discourse with his version. And this is their one and perhaps last chance to really kind of shape the public debate and let the American people hear in short, concise, plain English sentences what exactly happened and how serious it was.
A lot of people weighed in on this letter that the Department of Justice had sent to Mueller last night, making sure that he didn't go past the boundaries that were set out for him. But the Democrats are saying he can set the record straight, that there have been statements that have been untrue, so he could go outside of the boundaries. Some are saying he could go outside the boundaries on that, Joe, but on the other side of it, there are others saying that the letter holds no weight. He can say whatever he likes. What do you think?
Well, I would start off by saying that the reporting is that special counsel, or former special counsel Mueller, he is a private citizen, he asked for guidance from the Justice Department. He said to them, give me the parameters of what I can and cannot talk about in front of Congress. So this was a solicited instruction that he sought. Now, the information he got was, you are to stick to the four corners of your report. There are legal privileges, there are other privileges that govern the other information that you mentioned that you're supposed to stay away from. Now, at the end of the day, he is a private citizen. He has not been a federal employee for about 3 months now. So, at the end of the day, he is free to answer the questions that are posed to him. The reality is, though, Robert Mueller is a dedicated, longtime civil servant, and I do not expect that he will go far off the instructions that he was given from the Justice Department, even though legally he's not bound by them.
Okay, what is the Justice Department, what is the Trump administration, what is Donald Trump afraid of?
Well, I think it's probably the element of surprise, right? I mean, we waited 2 long years with virtually no information from the special counsel's team. They were really good about not leaking. So for 2 years, we waited. We, as the American people and the whole world, waited to see what he would find out. When it finally landed, it was sort of a split decision, right? The information was given that there was not sufficient evidence to charge a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. That's one. On the obstruction of justice, the special counsel said, well, there's not sufficient evidence, or we didn't make the decision to charge the president. However, there's enough evidence here to not be able to clear him. So it's kind of cloudy there. And so that's exactly what the Democrats are going to want to really kind of pierce into. The president, not knowing exactly what the special counsel will say, that's got to be what he's a little nervous about.
Yeah, is it just that for the Democrats is the goal just to get that clip of him saying what people, it's much more dramatic to see it said by the special prosecutor than to read it on paper?
I think there's perhaps the hope that something new might arise out of tomorrow's testimony, but I think you're right. Ultimately, if they're not going to get something new, then at least let's get what we already know in a punchy, understandable way. Maybe it is that video clip, or it's that headline that really gets people focused on that issue, that, you know what, this was a serious conduct that the president engaged in. Perhaps it's not right. Perhaps it's even illegal. What then should we do about it?
Okay, barn burner or snore? What do you think?
I think something in the middle, Carol. I mean, I don't expect a barn burner, but there might be a few interesting tidbits. 5 hours can be a long time in terms of Q&A in front of Congress. So I expect something will come of interest of that.
All right. Joseph Moreno, former U.S. federal prosecutor, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thanks, Carol. Great to be with you.
We'll have extended coverage of the hearings beginning at 8 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. We'll also carry Mueller's testimony live here on CBC News Network. Still to come on CBC News Network, 2 school buses were involved in a fiery collision.